accordingly. This way I can, you guys will receive. Are you guys receiving both copies the following day? Like I set it up in Zoom so that the following day, whether you attend the webinar or not, you're getting both copies. So the earlier webinar and the later webinar, they're generally the same, but some people ask different questions. So that's really the primary difference of the two. So today we are going over campaigns. So that's the subject on today's webinar was all about campaigns. I know Brana touched on it briefly when you were going over email and email templates and SMS templates and so on. Do any of you guys require any kind of like a refresher on creating templates? Because they are truly beneficial when you are creating campaigns. It does help to simplify things. As well as if you just want to just shoot that email off outside of the campaign, or shoot the SMS outside of the campaign, it helps with that as well. Do any of you guys need a refresher on the campaign or the email templates or SMS templates at all?
No, I don't.
You don't? Everyone else is good? Perfecto. Perfecto. If you guys do need help with that, just to kind of if anyone's just not speaking up, when you're in those sections of the CRM system, if you just go to this question mark here at the top right hand corner, it's going to give you video on that. So there's a video on how to create an email template right there. Okay, so as you guys move along through your CRM system, you're always going to see the question mark, the videos and how-to tutorials. They're always changing, reflective of where you're currently situated in there. And of course, if you need any help, then by all means, we can definitely do so. So let's dive in. So to access your campaigns, you're going to go into the settings tab, and you would go to your campaign template editor. So here's where all your campaigns are. So some of you may have, a lot of campaigns in there. Some of you may only have one or two in there. But you can definitely build campaigns out. How I like to educate people on campaigns is, if you're using a campaign to help you get in contact or gain contact with a lead, I suggest that you use and leverage those campaigns as a tool. They shouldn't replace your current individual methods on what you're doing. They should complement what you're doing. So kind of like a built-in assistant that's picking up the pieces along the way, potentially helping you reach out to people when you may be in a position where you may otherwise may not be able to do that. And it's all reflective of what kind of campaign you're building. So as you can see, we have several. This is the training site as always, or the training CRM. So there's 58 campaigns in here. You can always edit, and I'll go over that in just after we go through creating a new one. But to create a new one, you just hit create new. Now, what's great is if you've already got some campaigns established in your system, maybe you're creating two campaigns that are very similar in nature. Maybe just a couple of the actions are different, just depending on maybe the type of lead that it is. Maybe you have one that's just for general buyers and then one for first-time buyers, where just some of the information is slightly different. What you can actually do, instead of having to build out two campaigns, with just a couple things different, you can actually clone an existing campaign as well. So if you ever had a campaign that you had built already, you can simply clone it and then just modify the clone, rename it, modify, change some of the actions and so forth. So it does save you some time if you're doing it that way, if you're building something that's very similar. Now, if you're not cloning and you're building right from scratch, you're essentially just going to create the campaign itself. So here we would create the campaign name. So you give a name as to what this campaign is, essentially. So I'm just going to leave it as this, new campaign, 333. You're then going to choose your execution type. So the execution type is relative date or fixed date. So a relative date is relative to when you're assigning the campaign to somebody. So every action is relative to that. If it's a fixed date campaign, there's a fixed date for each action. So something like a holiday campaign. If you were to build out a holiday campaign of a series of emails and SMSs wishing people, happy New Year or Merry Christmas or, Happy Easter, things like that, those actions would have a fixed date to them. We would send those emails out on a specific date, regardless of when you're assigning the campaign. So you can create a fixed date. This is something that even after this, going into the new year, because I know a lot of y'all like to reach out to your databases, for certain holidays. So it's something that you can essentially do ahead of time, where you're building out a campaign that covers all the holidays. So you don't even have to think about it. And then, you have it built, and then we can go through how you would auto assign that campaign so that anyone that comes into your system is just automatically assigned to them. So you don't even have to worry about it. For today, we're just going to do relative date because that's the most common, most frequently used type of campaign itself. Now, with your campaigns, you also have stopping clauses. This is probably one of my favorite features that when we came out with this CRM and had the campaigns, one of the features in here. The stopping clause is essentially what's going to stop that campaign automatically. So you don't have to remember to do it, because I've been in the boat. I'm sure some of you also have been in the boat where you forget to turn a campaign off. So the campaign, if you reach a certain pipeline status, so let's say you're running a campaign and the sole purpose of this campaign is just to initiate contact with the lead. So in that case, you would have, like, let's say your pipeline status, if we've made contact or moved that lead further through the pipeline, it would just automatically stop that campaign. You don't have to worry about turning it off. The other option is through a tag. So if you apply a specific tag to the lead, it would then again stop that entire campaign. So your stopping clauses you can apply so that it actions for the entire campaign as you build it out. You can also leave this empty because on each individual action as you build it out, you can have stopping clauses on each individual actions instead. So depending on what I'm building a campaign for, I like to personally have it on individual actions because sometimes I might want some communications to still go out regardless of the situation, and others I may want to skip over. So if you have a stopping clause on an individual action, the campaign still runs, but if let's say we have a tag that says pre-approved, for example, as a stopping clause on one of our emails, it would then just skip over that email as part of the campaign, but the rest of the campaign would keep going. So I'll kind of discuss that a little bit further as well.
So would you specifically stop an action for a specific person? Is that why you would stop it?
Well, it would be, so let's say you have your campaign and let's say it's just more of a generalized buyer campaign, more informational or what have you. And let's say in that campaign, there's an email about the importance of getting a pre-approval, right? So you apply this campaign to all your buyer leads that you talk to. Now, let's say that, lead A has already been pre-approved. So we threw a tag on them that says they've been pre-approved. If you had the stopping clause in here for that email saying that they're pre-approved, for that specific person that has that tag, the campaign would not action. It would not send them that specific email because they've already been pre-approved. They don't need to know the importance of it. They've already got their approval.
Okay.
Right. So it's just different things that you can do where it skips over different actions depending on, different scenarios within the system.
Okay.
You also have silent hours. So silent hours are when you would want actions to go out and which times you wouldn't want them to go out, more or less. So you can, again, do this on the entire campaign. So if you want your entire campaign silent from 10 o'clock at night till 8:30 in the morning, for example, so none of the actions will go out in those hours if it's an auto assignment. So let's say you have it so that when leads come in, they get assigned to the campaign automatically. You may not want emails and your communications going out at 3 o'clock in the morning, hypothetically. You may want it so that any kind of action that does go out is between the specific working hours that you've indicated. You've also got the ability to action a campaign only on business days as well. So if you're, trying to do a little bit less when it comes to real estate, or don't want to necessarily have to be super responsive to leads and messages over the weekend, you can make it so that any action goes out only from Monday to Friday. They're not being actioned or sent out on the weekend. Again, this one here is on the main level, so you can only turn this on the main level. Silent hours and stopping clauses you can do on the individual actions. So I'm going to leave it like this with it completely open for now and just save it. So once you've saved your campaign, you now have the ability to start adding actions to it. So you're just simply going to click the plus sign and choose which action you're going to want to do first. So for in this case, email. Let's just choose an email as the first action. This is where your templates come in handy, because you would just go ahead and you can start typing the template. So I'm just going to see if there's anything in here. So we'll just select this one, for example. So just makes it a lot easier. You just select the template you've already created. There it is there. You can still edit it. If you want to tweak it a little bit differently, you definitely can still do so. You can also choose who this is coming from. So generally speaking, a lot of campaigns that I've seen built and what a lot of people do is it's always the main agent, the person that's assigned as the main agent on the lead is sending that action. But for example, let's say, kind of like the pre-approval one there, let's say you had a mortgage agent as part of your team, you may want that pre-approval email coming from that specific person instead, because they're the mortgagist, right? That might get a different response than you as an agent. This is where you would have the stopping clauses, right? So if this was an email that had to do with pre-approval, we would then put a tag on them that the stopping clause is the pre-approved tag. So if the lead itself has a pre-approved tag, this email wouldn't go to them, right? So we just skip over and continue. I'm just going to leave that there. Or you can do the pipeline or a combination of the two, entirely up to you. Now, the delay period for the first action is how long after you assign this campaign to a lead would you want this first action to trigger? So whether you want it in minutes, hours, days, weeks, or years. So let's say we want it 1 minute, just for example purposes, after they register, or after we assign this campaign, they're gonna get this email. And then again, you can put silent hours on this email specifically if you only want this email to go out during specific working hours. Once you've got this all set up, you would just simply save it. So now it's here as your first action as part of your campaign. Now, if you click the plus sign, you can add an SMS. Same idea. If you have your templates, you can simply select the template that you want to use. You can select who it comes from. Again, select the stopping clauses. With text messages, I would definitely put a silent hour on there, because just as much as you probably wouldn't want to text somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning, you as well wouldn't want to be receiving incoming text or upset people messaging you at 2 o'clock in the morning. So definitely put those in there. So it's what time at night. So let's say it was 7 or 9 o'clock at night to 4 a.m. or 7:15 a.m. in the morning, whatever you want your working hours. I tend to create, when I'm doing it for people, 9:30 at night to 8:30 in the morning. I feel is most realistic, but it's up to you and what you prefer and what your preferences are. So this action is, so if we have this on an auto assignment, which I'll go in for in a moment, even if the lead registered at 3 o'clock in the morning, let's say, they're not going to get any kind of communications until after 7:15 in the morning from you. When you save that, you'll be able to see it here, right? So again, I didn't change that. So right away, they're both getting both actions, one after another. Another thing you're also able to do is assign this to another campaign. So maybe you have a campaign that's really helping you trying to connect with your leads initially. And let's say you still haven't made contact with this person. So you want to put them onto a campaign that is some of you may already have it in your system, is the unresponsive lead campaign, which is really just a series of SMS and emails that are, an attempt to get somebody to respond to you. So let's say you want to assign it to a different campaign. You would then select the campaign that you would want it to go. Let's say it's an unresponsive new lead. Let's say it was like that. And then we wouldn't want this to go to the next person if we've made contact. So if we've made contact, we definitely wouldn't want this to go to the person because we've already made contact. We wouldn't want them to get assigned to this specific campaign. So it wouldn't actually assign them if we've made contact with them. But if we haven't made contact with them, it may move that lead to another campaign. So it's almost like a funnel, right? Where we're going through that funnel and maybe we contacted them, made contact or communicated, maybe we didn't. Do we want to keep them on and, stop the campaign because we talked to them, or maybe we want to now move them to another campaign in an additional attempt to get them to be responsive to us.
See, I would read that pipeline status as I should put in there what the pipeline status is. Is that?
Yeah, but that's a stopping clause, right? So that's what it is.
Oh,
so if they are
gotcha.
on made contact, it would stop that campaign. It wouldn't even trigger it moving to the next campaign.
Okay.
Yeah. And so maybe if you guys, so a lot of you will have in your system, your leads are likely set up on and what looks like, what is it? Lead qualification. That's probably what you see as a lead qualification. So let's say you have your lead qualification campaign already in there. I'll show you how to edit that. Maybe you want it after that campaign goes, maybe 2 weeks after, so maybe 14 days after the last action of that campaign, it'll automatically move them to the unresponsive lead. Now, you would really want to do that again. You want to have this complementing your effort. So if you're calling and calling and calling and still haven't connected with these people, after 2 weeks, you should have had a roughly 6 call attempts on that person. So that would be, more or less considered unresponsive. And then you're moving them to this campaign. Not necessary to have silent hours on this action because this campaign itself would have its own silent hours, right? So it's triggering to another one. So then we would just save that and now it's moved to this campaign. Now in the instance, you can always go back and edit. You can also add actions in between. So if you're like, oops, I wanted to add something in between those two, you can just hit the plus sign and throw something in between actions. Now, if you want this campaign automatically assigned to incoming leads in your system, so as they're coming in, you would click on automatic assignment. Now you can choose based on source, the type of lead it is. Tags currently, we are updating this or it's in the works as far as I am aware, is only really right now is like Facebook leads. For the most part, that you can apply a tag when a lead comes in. You can also specify for a main agent. So this is we've actually added the main agent on here, which is really great. What we were noticing as well is we would have a team, right? So you have the main agent and their sub users. The sub users still have the ability to create campaigns and auto assign. What they didn't realize is that when they're choosing the source, many of them are choosing the source of the website URL, essentially. So in this case, it would be like the training lead gen or anything with that, whether it's HTTP or HTTPS, that sort of thing. They were doing that, but they created a campaign for themselves thinking it would only go out to their leads, when in fact it was going out to everyone's leads. So we created it so that if you do have a team, or maybe, there's 2 of you and you want to even test out 2 campaigns simultaneously, okay, you use this on your new leads and I'm going to use this on my new leads, and we'll see whose leads actually are more responsive to those messages. Then you can choose the source is this, but it also has to match this agent. So both of those would have to match on the lead. So any of agent locator training leads that are assigned to agent locator training would be assigned to this campaign. But if they were assigned to Shauna, for example, they would not be thrown on this campaign. So you can do one or the other or both, really entirely up to you. Really depends on what products you guys currently have, if you guys have multiple sites, or how you're lead sharing, things like that. This is something where we can definitely help you out with. It can get overwhelming or confusing. You want to make sure that you're done correctly. So what I suggest to everyone, as always, take a go at it, build out your campaign, and we can definitely review it together to make sure it's going to run the way you anticipated that it's going to run, or what your intent is, right? So, you know, sometimes I can just quickly look over it and say, nope, campaign's not going to run, or, oh, you made an error in your short code. Just simple things like that, you know, but most cases I find that people do it and they have no problem at all. They tend to get it almost always on the first go, to be quite honest with you. You can also do it.
Sorry. With the automatic assignment, I know that I think all of my Facebook leads get like 1 or 3, I'm not sure how it's divided up, emails, you know, like greeting and an acknowledgement and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I guess I would have to set this up that they would start receiving it automatically after those 3.
You could, yeah, you could do it that way. Depends on what the campaign is, right? You can also edit that existing campaign, and I'll show you how to do it, where you can just, you know, build off of that campaign. So you keep those initial actions, and then you just keep building off of it.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also just do it by lead type. So if you have multiple different sources, let's say, of leads coming in, you can do it so that just anyone that is a home buyer, for example, regardless of the source, you could take this off. So regardless of the source, if they come in as a lead type home buyer, they're assigned to this campaign. Right. So some of our clients have, you know, a few different lead gen websites and a branded site. Let's say they could then have it just so anyone that comes in as a home buyer gets assigned to this campaign, regardless of how they got into the system. So once you've set the automatic assignment, you just click set. You can update it after the fact. If you want to turn automatic assignment off, you would just click delete. Don't go discard or anything like that. Just click delete, and it will delete that automatic assignment, so it doesn't automatically trigger on your leads. Now, if we close this out, you'll be able to see here, but any of these campaigns, so you can search. So some of you may have many. So you just start typing what the campaign might be called. So let's say I have this lead qualification. Your campaigns will also show you right here if you've already got them auto assigned somewhere. So this one here is already on auto assignment. So we can actually click on this. It'll tell you the leads from this site are automatically assigned to this specific campaign. Now, if I wanted to edit this campaign to add more actions, this is your, you know, we're asking about Jana, you have the campaign right here. So you'd be able to see the SMSs that are currently going out. You can modify, tweak them, delete them, replace whatever you want to do. So even if I have this one here, I can change what that template is. If I want a different template to go out 5 minutes later, you can definitely do that. And of course, you can still change all the stopping clauses and, you know, delays and silent hours and things like that, as well as you can just continue the campaign out even further. So you can continue building it on, adding emails or assigning the campaign. You can even have it so the system generates a task for you. So some people have asked, you know, do we have any action plans in our system? No, we don't, but you can definitely build a campaign on somebody. So if you get a listing, you can create a listing action plan, which is just a series of tasks for you, right? That are populated on specific days, like however many days apart, the things that you're going to need to do that will ultimately just create tasks for you on that individual, what you need to be actioning for them. Now, does anyone have any additional questions surrounding the campaigns and the automatic assignment or building it out or anything like that before we kind of push forward a little bit further?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Anyone else in here? I know we've got a couple more that popped in. Just giving everyone the ability to talk. So if you want to talk, just go ahead and talk. We're a small group this evening. I anticipated it would be. Everyone's good so far? Okay. So now that you have had a campaign, again, some of the times you may have it on automatic assignments, so it's going to go out to all of your leads. Now there's different ways that you can assign campaigns to your leads as well. So a couple different ways. One is just by opening up the lead itself, essentially, and going to your e-campaigns, and then you're going to click on the drop-down menu. Now, if any of you guys see legacy campaigns in your system, legacy campaigns are bad. We do not want to use legacy campaigns. They're built on our old platform. They're not the ones that you just built in here. You want to be looking at the new user campaigns, okay? And you can start typing. So even if I was to type like unresponsive, for example, here, it's going to populate in the drop down. You would just select the campaign and then click on assign. And then it would just assign it to that person. Any campaign that's been assigned to your lead is going to show here as well. If you wanted to see what's in that campaign, you can just click on the name of it, and down below it will show you that campaign itself and what has been actioned. You can preview what that is, whether it's an SMS or email. You can view what the content is that's going to go out to that individual. You can actually either stop that action from going out if you want to, or you can force it to go out. So if I force this right now, it's going to force that SMS to go out right away. I've got, for whatever reason, why did it cancel? I don't know. But it will generally force it out. And then I don't know why it canceled. Maybe there are reactions. In the emails, if you are on this page, just so you guys are aware, if you click the force option right from this main page, you'll see how many actions there are. If I force this right now, it's going to force the remaining 3 all at the same time. So your lead is going to get all of those actions all at once, okay? So you don't want that to happen. And don't mind my dog screaming in the background. Suzanne is asking, can we convert the legacy campaigns, or do you have to be built individually rebuilt? So you would build them individually. The email templates for those campaigns, though, would be, they should essentially be in your system already. So it shouldn't take you long because those templates are already there. It's just a matter of just creating the campaign itself. The legacy campaigns aren't horrible. Is you just don't have the same control over them as you do in here. So it's very limiting. There's no automatic stopping clauses. You can't search for your leads to see who's on those campaigns. Just simple things like that. If you're looking at the campaign like here, you wouldn't have been able to preview the email that is about to go out. So it's just, there's a little bit of a disadvantage to using those. Plus, if you wanted to edit them, you have to jump in through the legacy, go through the back doors, do it all that way, and so on. Some people are great, you know, and okay with that. Others have no idea what I'm talking about because we try to stay away from things actually through the legacy system. That's really it. It's not gonna be like damaging or whatever. The other is when you're looking at the emails, you would be able to see as well. It would actually say legacy, and it would always just say sent. It wouldn't let you know if they're looking at the emails or actioning them or anything like that. It always just says sent. Okay, so that's another downside of it, is you're not knowing really what somebody's doing with those emails in your system. Now, another option is to mass assign campaigns. So let's say you have a campaign that you just built. Maybe you built the holiday campaign and you have it on auto assignment, and you currently have it. So any new lead that comes in is automatically assigned to your holiday campaign. You may want to get all the existing leads in your system on that holiday campaign as well. So how you would do that is simply clicking on this top box here, and then you would go here and go select all and select. So then it would let you know that you've selected essentially 215 of 215. You would then go to your apply actions, and then you can mass assign a campaign to your leads. You would select the campaign. In this case, I don't think I have a holiday one. No. You would select a holiday campaign or whatever it is. and then you could go done, and it would automatically assign it to all of these people all at once. Now, another would potentially be maybe you've mass assigned some campaigns, or you've got some people on campaigns and you're not sure who, or who you should be assigning the campaign to. You can use a filter for that. So in your filters, you can go campaigns, and you have a couple options. So has all selected. So if you had a couple campaigns, you want to make sure they have both of those campaigns essentially selected on that for that person. Has any would mean if you selected more than one, they can have either or of those campaigns, or you have none of those campaigns. So if I, for example, choose any right now, and let's say I did this one, I can apply the filter and I can see I have 137 leads that have been assigned already to this campaign. If I wanted to, these were the campaigns I wanted to assign to my leads. These are the ones I don't want to assign it to because they've already been assigned that campaign. I would change this to has none selected. I want everyone that doesn't have either of these campaigns assigned to them, and then I apply the filter. Now I can see I have 78 leads in my system that aren't currently set up or have never been set up on this campaign. So I can then select them and then, essentially choose those campaigns or the campaign to assign to those specific individuals.
And that would take into consideration people that had a campaign that had completed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not just keep doing, you're not doing the same thing over and over again on the same person, but then you can kind of go through. One good example of this is what some people will do is the bad number campaign. Some of you may have it in your system. So whenever you're marking a phone number as being invalid, the bad number campaign will assist you with, just with some emails trying to help you get a good number for that lead. Some people do it on the spot. Some people forget, of course, so then you could easily just go campaign has none selected, and then you would just, select the bad number campaign. I want everyone that's not currently on this campaign and assign it to them, essentially. That is how you would do that. Or maybe you want to assign people to this campaign, but also you want to dig up people where their phone number is invalid, right? So we want everyone that has an invalid number that has not been assigned to this campaign. We would then pull up, and now there's only 13 leads in here that have a bad number that have yet to been assigned to the bad number campaign. And so you can assign them to that campaign. Does that make sense for everyone? Good. Any questions on that? There's a smaller group. Now there is no campaigns for birthdays. Someone in our previous session had asked about birthday campaigns. You set up birthday campaigns. Unfortunately not, because you would literally have to set a campaign for the same person, basically, or have like a campaign for each one of your clients. So you wouldn't want to do that. But what you guys can do, just so that some of you are aware, some of you are not aware, is down on your lead, when you open up a lead, so if it's a client or you've validated it and got all their details, you do have this lead data section right here. You can actually put in the more detailed section, you can specify their date of birth. Okay, so you have the date of birth, their purchase anniversary, or wedding anniversary for those of you that are really close with their clients. So I don't know of anyone that has a wedding anniversary, that's why I can joke about it. The wedding anniversary, what I instruct others to do is use it for the spouse's birthday. And I'll kind of go over that in a moment, because most of us, let's face it, I don't know if any of you guys know when your clients got married. Unless they're like a first time and they're telling you when they got married. That's the only way you would know they got married, right? So their date of birth, you would just click on this, and then you would select the birthday. You can change the year, of course. Let's just make it so that my birthday is tomorrow, hypothetically. And then you can click, wrong year, of course, I'm not brand new. You click on the little icon. So when you click on the little icon, it gives you an opportunity to schedule, whether it's an SMS or you want to schedule an email. So you can select the date and time of that communication, or it's obviously the date is already there, but the time of that. And then you can either, if you had just a standardized birthday template, you can use that, or you can build out a specific email for that individual for their birthday. So this email then would go out every year on their birthday at that time. And then of course you could always go back and edit it if you wanted to change that. Now, same goes with the purchase anniversary. If you want to do that, it'll go annually. Now, for spouses, we don't currently have a birthday slot for the spouses. So what you can do, and what I suggest, is if you were to just go and change the name, it's like Crystal and Tom, for their last names, because we typically don't use their last name. I don't know, most of us, I know we're not as formal as, maybe we used to be back in the day. We would just put like their last name. So this would be the first or the last name for the first person's name, and this would be the last name. Let's say just put this as part 2. This is the last name of the second, should they not carry the same last name. You would then click on the email. If you guys, if you want to be able to send communications to 2 people or more than 1 person, you would just put a comma here, and then you can put a second email in here. I'm just going to go, I'm going to give a bad email, nothing's going to go out, so it's okay. So you just put a comma separated. That way, if I am planning on sending an email, it's going to automatically create an email for both of them. So this is also for the listings as well. Both parties would get those listings. Now, where you would do this, so what's great about this is that when you're putting these emails, so I always use the date of birth for the first person, that's up here, and then the anniversary as the second person. So you would build this email out using their first name of the first person, and then you're building this one out using the first name of the second person. What's great, even though that it's we can't separate it, but what happens is both of these people get the email when you're acknowledging their spouse's email, their spouse's birthday. So it's not like it's a bad thing. They're actually saying, hey, this person is actually remembering both of our birthdays. This is kind of cool that they actually remembered that. So if you guys need any help with this setting up, in the future, by all means, reach out. But it's a good feature whether you want to send them text messages or emails on their birthday or purchase anniversaries and things like that. So that's how you tend to do that. Any questions surrounding that at all? No, we're all good. You do have the ability over here under settings, you have a religion. So some of us, we keep track of that. So you can actually add religions in, so you can specify a religion. You can filter by all of this. So you can filter leads based on the religion. So if there's a specific religious holiday that's coming up, and you might have leads that, let's say, like are Jewish in your system, you would be able to pull them up and then perhaps mass email them something with respect to that specific holiday. So if we go back to the main page here, actually, let me just go back. Let me select a religion for this person so it actually works, because I know I don't have anyone on any kind of, so let's just say this person's Christian and then go back. So now if I want to, so if you guys are adding birthdays in there, you don't have to send out automatic anything. You don't need to do that. You can just specify their birthday in there if you want to. In here, you will be able to filter leads based on the birthday. So if you wanted to pull up, leads between a specific day or leads in the next 7 days, maybe you do this weekly, or you have an admin that, you want to personally send out communications. So we can see here, we've got 2 leads that have their birthday coming up in the next 7 days. You can change it between the dates. So maybe you want to kind of get ahead of everything and you want everyone that is, from the entire month, you'd be able to do that. Or maybe you want to do it annually where you're filling something out. Maybe you want to do that. However you want to do it, you can do it. There's still only 2 people that have their birthday in the month of December in here. Same goes for religion. you can pull up all these people with the religion. So if you want everyone that has the religion of Christian, you can see there's just the one person in here with that as the religion. So if we wanted to select them, whether we want to send them in a personal email just by clicking on their email, or you can do it if you've got several people of the same religion, you can send a mass email to all of them with respect to that. But that's ultimately it. I've kind of, this second one is a little bit faster. I know a lot of our people in the first one needed a recap on emails and things like that. The first part of this group did not need a refresh on that whatsoever. What I could give you as bonus content essentially is I showed the other group how to create a GIF for their emails. Would anyone here benefit from that? So a GIF is a moving picture. So Raza would like to see that. Awesome. So GIFs are, so for many of you guys, you may be doing bomb, or heard a bomb, or want to be doing something like bomb. So creating, all bomb is a moving picture. So they've created a platform where you record your video, it automatically creates the GIF, or GIF, I don't know how you technically pronounce it. And so it's a moving picture that looks like a video, so somebody clicks on it. So you can actually do that on your own right from your platform here. So let me just, or open it up. Let me see if I've got Jiffy open somewhere. No, I do not. So if I go right here, you can go to jiffy.com. This is just one that I've used. There's probably more out there. This is just the one that I've used personally. You will need to log in to create GIFs. Oh, I'm already logged in. There we go. And then you just click on create. Right, so there are some that I've created in the past, these GIFs, things like that. If you guys ever look at if you've ever received an email from me, I'll show you right here, I'll just compose. My emails have GIFs in them. Right, so those are just moving pictures in my email signature to get people to potentially notice them.
And you created that in Jiffy?
I created those in Jiffy, that's right. So that's there's the leave review one right there. Right, so once you've created them, you can do more. You can do them for video. So this is one where this client here was specifically talking. So we wanted it to look like a video, things like that. And then you also, let's just see, like the click here, right? So even having some, if you have an action, it can be an image, right? So you may want somebody to actually click on that button so you can add like some animation to try to get them to click on it. So when you go into create, you just click on create essentially, and then you can add a GIF or a JPEG, so just a standing picture if you want to. You can also just add a URL from YouTube. So this is if you're wanting to create a video to send to someone, it'll look like you're talking. This would be if you're like having a click here, image, and then you want to animate it, you can upload an image right there. So let me just find a video on YouTube. I'll just go YouTube. Now the length of the video can't be too long, just so you guys know. It has to be, I think, within 15 minutes long in order to create a GIF. So all you need to do is just copy the share for that video, and then you just paste it in here. Once you paste it in here, you'll be able to change the duration. So you can make it so that it's a longer duration. We can also change the start time. So if we wanted to start at a certain spot, we can definitely do that and change it and kind of go from there. Once you've kind of figured out, how you want to trim that initial little clip there, you would go continue to decorate. And the same with the image, you would just go continue to decorate. You can add more than one image, but ultimately you would click continue to decorate. Now on the GIF, you'll be able to add text. So even if it's a video, you will be able to add text to it. Of course, you can add stickers to it, change the filters so the colors are a little bit different, and then or draw images on there. This can take a little bit just depending on your settings. And I don't know if I changed things, so that's why it's taking longer. You can change your style format for your text. as well, and also add some animation to that text as well. So if you want it to stand out, like people see that text, you can definitely do that. I am getting a little impatient with this.
So do you put this in as your signature, or can it be going anywhere in the email?
Anywhere in the email. So it's a great way if you're sending somebody, for example, like stats, right? You want them to click on the stats. People, we all kind of are, in a way, I like to say, like we're kind of like cats. When things are moving, we kind of have this increased sense of we got it. You just got to almost touch it to see what it does when we see it moving. So it's a great way. I know I've had an agent that in the past, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but he would spend a lot of time, like he loved doing it though, but he would spend a lot of time creating these market report emails and just all this different stuff. But he was noticing there wasn't a whole lot of people that were actually actioning the emails. He's putting all this information together, but no one's actually going ahead and clicking through those emails. So we showed him the gist, how to put it all together. He did it in his first action where he sent out that mass email. I believe it was at least 30% click rate increase on the email because he added some GIFs of just simple like click here, a market report, whatever it was that he did to kind of spruce it up a little bit. I'm going to go back and do this because this is taking a little bit long.
So when you do the click here, is it like a hyperlink so that you put that in your email and then you put a hyperlink?
Exactly, right?
Okay.
So when we put the email, so I'll show you from here. So this, it's kind of weird because it's already been edited, so it's stretching it a little bit. But let's just put a caption. Let's go, hi team. You can put it in here. You can move this around, of course. You can make it so it's like a meme instead. So it kind of goes at the top, the bottom, if you want white background, color background, that sort of thing. You can change the color text. Again, we can make it so that it's sparkly text, so it's kind of moving, kind of add some animation, whatever you may want to do. And then you kind of go into your stickers. So what kind of stickers do you want on it? You can do like, play, that sort of thing. There's play button, a lot of different options for that. Or even like a YouTube one where it's just like the YouTube. All you need to do is click on it and then it'll bring it in the screen and you can then, edit, you can resize it, that sort of thing. And then move it around if you want to.
Does it have to come from YouTube or can you just create a video and pop it into your computer?
No, it has to be uploaded. So it doesn't have to be YouTube, but it has to be somewhere. It can't be just a file on your computer.
Can it be like a Loom?
You would have to try. I've never tried a Loom, to be honest with you. Yeah, never tried a Loom. It does support a lot, so you'd be surprised. If you guys are doing, if you're not wanting to do YouTube, that's fine. One thing with YouTube is you can definitely make it so that your videos are unlisted is what I suggest. So if you're creating something that's specific for one person, as an example, then you would just unlist it, make it when you're publishing that video, it's unlisted. So generally it's just the person with the link that's going to be able to see it. They're not going to be able to find, no one else is going to be able to find it.
Okay.
Once you've finished decorating your image or video, you just go continue to upload. I don't even know what this is. I never use it. You can make it public or private. I just leave them public. If someone really wants to use this for something, by all means, knock yourself out. So once it's just creating the GIF here, it will produce it afterwards. And there we have it. So what you're going to want to do is kind of click on the side or right click on the side here, and you're going to want to save the image as. Sometimes you'll right click and sometimes you'll get this. So just click somewhere else and just make sure you're just going to save the image. And then let's just call this 543 and then save that. So now that's an image on my computer, so to speak, or GIF image. Then if you're creating a template or what have you, I'm just going to do it this way. You would essentially build this into your system. So all you need to do is click on the upload image, whether it's a template or not, and then you just click the GIF that you just created. And then it'll upload. That's not the one I just created. It was this one I just created. So it showed it right there. So same idea. All you need to do is click to highlight it, and that will allow you to insert the link. So you just, anywhere you see this hyperlink symbol, you see it in Word, you see it in your email accounts, you see it everywhere. This allows you to link things. So if somebody clicks on this image, you would then, for example, I would send them to that YouTube. I don't want them to go to that YouTube. I would change the window to new window. That way it doesn't take over their current screen should they be locked into that screen. And then you just go, okay. If you want to hyperlink text, same idea. Highlight text, and then you would link it that way. So then that text would be linked. So now this is a link. So if somebody clicks on it, they're getting linked to wherever you're telling them you want them to go.
So if they were to click on that YouTube video, does it just bring it right into YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Here, I'll let me send it to myself. Yeah, where is my email? Close that. All right, so there's the email that just came through, right? You can see how my mouse is out on a hand, like I'm gonna click something. So if I hyperlink this one, so if I clicked it, it opened up that.
Okay.
Yeah, and same with the text. If I click on this text right here, it opens that.
So if you create a YouTube video and then you saved it into your YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly. So there's
yeah.
different things that you could be leveraging and using this for.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a great way. You can throw GIFs into your website. So if you are familiar with how to use your website editor, you can definitely do that as well. That sort of thing. Zen is asking, is the Jiffy embedded in the agent locator? Or do you create your own Jiffy account? You create your own Jiffy account. You can do, and then you just save the images to your computer to upload into the system itself. Yeah. That's essentially, but that's a great way. So I always educate when we are doing things on your website, of course, hyperlinks are your best friend for Google SEO. Okay, so if you guys are adding content to your website or blogging, hyperlink. Google loves it. Whether you're hyperlinking to a page already in your website, because you're talking about, let's say Toronto listings, you can link it to a listings page in your website. Or maybe you're linking it elsewhere. Like maybe you're talking about the most, the top rated schools in Toronto. You can link top rated schools to, whatever that website is that has all the school rankings. Google loves when you do that because you're referencing other websites, but it helps your SEO because if somebody's looking kind of using keywords that simulate, they're kind of maybe looking for both. But you're getting unique traffic from it as well. So it actually helps boost. So anytime you're creating an article, if you guys are blogging, try to include 2 hyperlinks. It doesn't have to be anything major, just 2 hyperlinks in those, and just kind of keep it as rule of thumb. Hyperlinks are good. Google loves
I'd really like a session on how we kind of can enhance our websites like that.
I think we have one in our leveraging. I'd have to go back and look. I think we focus a lot on the CRM at first, and then we go into the website. The websites can be tricky because we actually have 2 platforms for websites. So that those sessions will be interesting to say the least, because some of y'all are going through the legacy to edit your websites, and some of you guys are going into the site manager because you're on an automated system. But either way, we can definitely go through both. Definitely it is in the forecast. I'm just not sure when. In our leveraging series, we do cover that topic. You can also, Georgiana already went on here, if you do want, website editing assistance is reach out to your assigned trainer, and they would be able to, provide that to you, give you a good rundown on all that information as well. So if you're not wanting to have to wait for it, you definitely have options.
I'll need to know who that is because I've been chatting with so many people. I'm not sure.
No, like who, what, where, what? Yeah, let me see. I know that you did have, or felt like you had a session not that long ago, but I could be wrong. Well, beginning of November. So, almost 2 months ago. But yeah, you were with Anya, but Anya is no longer with you. So I can definitely just send you a link to book branded training. Okay. And then you just specifically would do that. Yeah, they can definitely help you with that essentially. I think it's
Perfect.
you are on legacy. Yeah, you're on legacy for your Georgiana ones. So that is that. But that, for the most part, concludes our leveraging for today. Was there any questions I could answer for y'all before we head out this evening?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're good. I think everyone else is pretty good. Everyone's quiet, taking their all in. All good. Awesome. Well, we've got one coming through the chat. Okay. Thank you, Zan. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Raza. Awesome. Well, we are all good for today. We are not doing a leveraging next week. We are closed. We're all taking some much needed downtime after the holidays. So we'll be back the week of the 4th, continuing the leveraging series. I can't recall what the next one is, so it'll be a surprise for all of us. But they're always intended to be value added, teach you guys new tips and tricks and things that you may find beneficial overall. But thanks everyone for taking the time this evening. And for those of you that do celebrate, have yourself a Merry Christmas. And for those who don't, just enjoy the holidays. But thanks
Christmas
everyone. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. You all have a great evening.